Welcome back to another video. I'm Jack Robotham, and today is the start of a series of videos to help you understand and answer the question, what is the Power Platform? This video today will be a high-level introduction to help you understand the foundations of the Power Platform. We'll then do a deeper dive for future videos such as each of the components and the breakdown of what they mean. Let's look at the areas that we'll be covering today. So starting off with why low code? What are the themes that we're seeing in the market which are promoting low code and its use? We'll then talk around a typical digital transformational process, where I'll run you through a popular challenge that we're seeing with customers and the process that you can take to transform. I'll then set the scene of the Power Platform in its broader context and what that means for Microsoft Cloud and how you can take advantage of that. And then finally discuss your broader IT ecosystem and what that could mean for the future use of the Power Platform within your business. So let's get started.
First of all, let's discuss why low code, why now? It's an increasingly popular topic for businesses. It's not a new term, it's been used for a couple of years now. And in summary, it's using technologies that use low or no code in its application development. So a classic example is an Excel formula, a sum, an if. It's easy to use, it's inclusive to all, and it's being used by millions of users today. Now imagine if you could use that for any app development, automation, BI, or virtual agents to define logic. But let's discuss what the market's actually seeing to support why low code is the right time now. The first theme is the changing workforce. By 2025, 75% of workforces will be millennials, who are digitally native, expect a consumer-grade software experience at work, and no longer will old legacy-based applications such as 20-year-old Win32 apps will work for them in their day-to-day work. They're now expecting that next generation of technology, easy to use, intuitive, and allows them to do their work in an even more productive manner. Secondly, a staggering increase in digital demand in the enterprise. 500 million new apps will be built in the next 5 years, more than all of the apps built in the last 40. Demand for mobile apps in the enterprise is growing 5 times faster than supply, and 85% of organizations cannot actually analyze that data. Therefore, the need for companies in all industries to be able to develop digital solutions has never been higher. And it's also identified 50% of digital work activities can actually be automated today, meaning organizations are not actually making the most of the technologies that they have to date. However, despite the unprecedented demand, there's simply not enough developers to implement these solutions. Over 86% of organizations are already struggling to hire the right developers with the right skill set, and it's only going to get worse from here. There's projected to be a 1 million developer shortfall in the United States alone, so imagine what that's going to be looking like for the rest of the world. And finally, the pandemic and the associated recession, also known as the Great Lockdown, is projected to be the worst recession since World War II, a 5.2% contraction in global GDP and 9.9% in the UK. During this period, every company will now be looking to do more with less, getting more outputs, more results, and more from digital solutions with their existing workforce if they want to be able to survive. Traditionally, to overcome those 4 trends, we try to teach everyone code, and that's where Microsoft and other technology companies are investing in technical skills initiatives to allow companies to build out their technical talent and inspire the future generations. But that's definitely a long-term approach, and not everyone has a career ambitions to learn code and be a developer. So in the short term, we need a technology, we need a platform that allows anyone to be able to build out apps, automation, BI, or virtual agents that doesn't require them to commit their whole careers to it. And that's where this notion of low code is helping businesses achieve that. So if we look at the types of users that can actually benefit from low code, let's take into account business users as an example, citizen developers, those that are closest to the problem, creating the digital demand for IT and pro developers, and they need a solution. Now they can be empowered to use the right tools in the right way to drive innovation and change, as they're closer to the problem and now they have tools that they can even stand up a minimum viable product. We then got pro developers being able to use it as a tool to allow them to be even more agile in their app development. So the Total Economic Impact report by Forrester identified a 70% reduction in the time it took to develop solutions with Power Apps compared to typical pro code technologies. And finally, IT admins, now being able to use a technology that's secure, they can maintain it, they can put in the governance and controls to control the citizen developers and the pro developers in the right way. But let's talk for a typical transformational scenario and where low code might actually be able to help. If we give the example of a relationship manager, those that are looking to improve the experiences to their end customers and provide them with the right products that meet their needs. Today it might be a disconnected, manual and purely reactive experience. There might be hundreds of scenarios similar to this for any customer facing role or even employee enablement as well. So where we will start with digital transformation is the data. Where is the data that process or that existing solution sits? So it might be, if we take into the account a relationship manager, the CRMs that we have that might be sitting on the cloud, they might have some legacy-based applications sitting on an on-premise estate, and they might have some legacy Win32 app as an example on their local computer as well. So all these different data connectors that they need to be able to bridge together to be able to take advantage of. Once we've understood where is that data layer sitting, we then need to apply some analytics over that to get understanding, visualize and restructure that data to be able to make better decisioning. So if we bring that back to the relationship manager, how can an RM understand the KPIs that they want to be able to pull out to make them more effective in their day-to-day role? So it might be, what is their opportunity pipeline looking like? The renewal sales, the closure rate of their existing deals as well. So various different KPIs that they're able to then define at that analyze stage. Then ultimately they need to be able to take all that action and that better decisioning and either act or automate. So act might be, we might need to give them an intelligent app that allows them to work close with the customer to understand their financial needs as an example, and that could be done with Power Apps. Alternatively, from the automation aspect, they might not need human involvement at all. So it might be that every month, as an example, they'd like to create an automation to improve the accessibility of information to a relationship manager. So they might use automation to trigger an email to the relationship manager to let them know that renewals are coming up, and then they can then take that forward. Or finally, we take that data and actually we might want to have a conversational experience with an employee or a customer, and that's where the virtual agents element can come into play. So if we take this, in essence, we talked about data, getting the data, consolidating it together, and then analyzing it to get understanding, and then we're either acting, we're automating, or then we're bringing it either into a conversational AI experience as well. And obviously, as part of this digital transformation scenario, that data constantly feeds back and improves the process all the way through. So if we then apply this to what the technology actually looks like for the Power Platform, this is exactly where it helps. So that connector, so we talked about data, being able to reduce the data silos, connect it into a consolidated experience. The Power Platform brings 450 connectors out of box that allow you to connect and bridge your various different enterprise systems together to take advantage of right away. So once we've brought together all that various different connectors, we then go to Power BI and we build out visualizations, the dashboarding as an example. So we might build out an RM focused or even a management focused dashboard with all the KPIs that they need. So once now the RMs know how to be more proactive and productive, we then put it in apps, we then put it in automation or virtual agents. So Power Apps as an example, we might give them a mobile based app so they can then work closer with the customer and update opportunities on the move. We might then, as an example, have a recurring automate that automatically notifies them of a deal change as an example, and an action or a next best product that they can recommend to their customer. And finally, virtual agents. So it might be that customers like to log on online and ask very similar FAQ questions. So now let's actually put it in a virtual agent on side of the website, which then allows them to answer those questions and takes off the onus of the relationship manager asking those. So that hopefully that kind of helps frame how the Power Platform can help you achieve those digital transformational outcomes. But now let's talk about, where does the Power Platform actually sit in the much broader Microsoft Cloud? As you may know, the Power Platform is Microsoft's low-code approach to development of apps, automation, BI, and virtual agents, but it's not an isolated offering. Let's look at where the Power Platform actually sits inside of that Microsoft Cloud. So you can see here, Microsoft 365, an example of where the Power Platform can already be used to drive personal productivity in their existing applications. So people with E3 and E5 can use the Power Platform, Power Apps and Power Automate to be able to improve those productivity lines. So it might be they would set up an automation for when a document comes inside of Outlook, or they'd like to automatically send a notification inside of Teams to a local user. Or even it might be forms that sits on top of a SharePoint site. So there's lots of opportunity to drive local personal productivity with the Power Platform inside of Microsoft 365 and Microsoft Teams. That second layer is Microsoft Dynamics 365. As you know, the comprehensive line of business applications from CRM such as sales and customer service, all the way to ERPs, so supply chain management or commerce as an example. Now, the Power Platform is included in all of those Dynamics 365 licensing, allowing you to extend that experience. So a popular example would be for Dynamics 365 for sales, as a relationship manager, you can create a Power App that will extend that capability and allow them to maybe do and connect financial needs analysis that they do working, go and visiting the customer, and then that can automatically update directly back into Dynamics as it sits on the same infrastructure, such as Microsoft Dataverse. And finally, Microsoft Azure. So this is probably one of the most important. As you know, Power Platform is a SaaS-based application. Therefore, the infrastructure is managed for you, not having to worry about all of that. That then allows pro developers to use all the tools that they know and love from their Azure services as an example. So Azure DevOps for application lifecycle management. They might also bring in AI and ML services for more comprehensive logic inside of their Power Apps and Power Automate. So it's pretty much a no-cliffs extensibility model for all types of users and all types of experiences and technology investments in Microsoft. And most importantly, the identity, security, management and compliance that's associated with the Microsoft Cloud and how the Power Platform can benefit from it. So as it's SaaS-based, as we've just said, it allows you to take advantage of the rich auditing, the rich base security roles, Active Directory that you can define conditional access. So as an IT admin, you can control who's accessing the platform, how they're accessing it, when, why, which connectors, and get a full comprehensive 360 view of how the Power Platform could be used inside of Microsoft. But if we now look at the broader IT ecosystem that your organizations might have, we understand that you're not just a Microsoft house. You will have a plethora of IT systems that exist today. For business applications, you might have SAP, you might have Salesforce, you might have Oracle. You might have productivity applications such as G Suite, and you might have different communication platforms or even different manual-based processes as well. But that's absolutely okay. What we want to be able to emphasize with the Power Platform is that it's there to help overcome those data silos. With the 450 connectors that we've discussed, it allows you to bridge all your business applications together, so native connectors such as Salesforce and SAP as an example. And you can build out your own custom connectors if you'd like to. It might be that you're working on personal productivity applications such as Teams. You can now use that unstructured productivity data and bring that inside of the Power Platform as well. Or if we use that final example, it might be a paper-based process today. Why don't we transform that and modernize and digitalize that inside of electronic forms inside of Microsoft Power Platform as well. So hopefully this shows and builds a bit of confidence that it doesn't matter where your different technology estates are sitting, you can still take advantage of the Power Platform to help improve those processes.
So to reflect, we talked about the 4 key themes: changing workforce, growing digital demand, lack of technical skills, and the great lockdown influencing how low code is taking place. We then spoke about the process of data turning into insight, acting and automating, and then bringing conversational AI into that experience to transform that process. We finally then introduced the Microsoft Cloud and how that fits into the broader ecosystem with the Power Platform, so Office 365 extensions, Dynamics 365, and using all the Azure services that you know and love. Finally, we discussed what does your IT ecosystem look like and how you can still take advantage, and there's always the opportunity to use the breadth of the connectivity in the Power Platform to transform your processes. For the next video, I'll be introducing the Power Platform in a lot more detail, going into each of the components, apps, automation, building out dashboards, and virtual agents. Then focusing on 2 key features: AI Builder, democratizing AI, and Dataverse and what they mean for you. Thank you for watching. I hope you found value in watching this video. Please like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you'd like to see next.